What's the meaning of it all? What is the meaning of all of this work to do with healing? We see video after video talking about wounds and childhood and the fact that you need to heal. We see course after course speaking about, and it's just all noise, because nobody knows who to trust in this work. It's all noise. There is so much noise and so many bandwagons that people are jumping on regarding the healing industry, regarding trauma awareness. And one thing that I have to really, really be careful of is I don't add to that noise, because I'm like, oh my God, what's the point in doing these videos? What's the point in doing these videos when there is so much noise already and people don't know where to start? And one thing that I want to say to you is hopefully this channel brings to you the knowledge on what healing means, the knowledge on how you can heal certain things, and meditations to help you heal your energy. My channel, I want to bring to you to help you change your life in some way, help you give food for thought. And I don't know where my place is on YouTube, I'm not going to lie, because there is so much noise on this YouTube, so many charismatic people on here selling their souls, that I'm like, what do I really have to bring? But all I know is that I'm being called to do these videos. Today's video, I want to talk to you about a wound that goes unnoticed in 80% of the population. And when it goes unnoticed, it deeply affects you. It affects your relationships, your connections, your bonding. And that is the wound of introspection. The wound of introspection is where you've grown up in environments and childhoods and connections of having to absorb the information, behaviours and opinions of those around you. One thing that I want to say is, I'm not here to hate on parents. I'm not here to hate on the childhoods, like some people say your childhood was shit, you need to heal from it. I'm here to say that there's a lot of ancestral wounding that's being passed down generationally in families, that as we evolve as humans, we are recognising as we evolve that our thoughts and feelings are evolving, and that the wounds we didn't know that impacted us do impact us. And this wound is no different. And you also have to be careful on the self-awareness journey and the self-healing journey, that you don't get caught in looking for too many problems with yourself and believing that you constantly need to fix yourself, believing that there's something you've constantly got to work on. But the wound of introspection shows up with people who absorb the feelings and behaviours of those around them. They absorb the opinions, the thoughts. And I'm going to give you an example. Say you're talking to a friend and a friend is upset with another friend, and that friend tells you all of the reasons why they're upset, and you go, yeah, I can understand that. I can see that, I get that. And then you speak to the other friend and they'll tell you a completely different story. And you'll go, yeah, I get that. I understand that. And amongst it all, you feel so torn because you see both sides of the coin. You see both people's reasonings. And you feel as if it's all big mess, because actually they all have a meaning and they all have something that's valid to say. And you end up flitting from one friend to the other, sounding like you're hugely agreeable, sounding like you are sitting on the fence. And this is what happens. People who have interjection wounds, they sit on fences, they don't like to get involved in things, they can see the thoughts, feelings and beliefs of everyone. When they go through something, when you go through something, you'll ask for the opinions of others, and you will want to follow the opinions of others. You will often be swayed easily by the beliefs of others. You'll be swayed easily by the behaviours of others. And it leads you to constantly gaslight yourself. You don't know what your own thoughts are, what your own feelings are, what your own opinions are. And you'll feel bad when you do know what they are for having them, because they don't match somebody else's. You are so used to chameleoning yourself and taking on the thoughts, the feelings and the behaviours of others that actually, when you get to adulthood and you continue to do this, it leads you into situations that are hugely uncomfortable. And actually it leads you to have breakdowns of friendships. Because people always think that you're a people pleaser. People think that you've never got anything to say. People think that you're sitting on fences. You always find yourself really impartial, really impartial, really impartial. And to a certain degree, being impartial is good. Seeing all points of view is good. But we need balance, don't we? If you always listen to other people's opinions and don't validate yourself, you'll live your life driven by others. If you always validate other people's behaviours because of their reasoning and never know how to validate how you feel about it, you'll gaslight yourself. If you're in friendships where you always are agreeable because you can understand where they're coming from, you will seem disingenuous even if you're not. People will feel like you're disingenuous. And this almost shows up in what people deem people as fake. So when people meet someone, they say, oh, I don't like her, she just seems very fake. It's not that the person is fake or is horrible or bad. It's that the person has never been taught to create their own belief systems, to stand by their own belief systems, to have their own opinions, and to have their own behaviours that they stand by. To be authentic in this world, we have to learn what we do feel and what we have to create a values system. We have to create a set of beliefs and values. So my value is, I don't want to go out drinking every other weekend. That's not somebody else's value, but that's my value. So if I was to just please somebody else and go out drinking every weekend because they deemed me boring because I didn't go drinking every weekend, I'd feel in disconnection to myself because I'm going against something that I know I want to do, which is stay home. But because I feel like I've got to please all my friends who are really more social than me, and I go out every weekend with them, I will feel burnt out. I'll feel agitated and frustrated. I feel like I'm pissed off because I'm constantly having to give parts of myself. When we start to understand the introjection wound, we can create a value system for ourselves and a belief system. We have to start asking ourselves, what do I really believe about things? And we have to start asking ourselves that it's important. And you don't have to have such strong beliefs and values that they're rigid and that they can never be challenged. But if you learn that disagreeing with something is important, because to be respected by others and valued by others, you have to actually understand what your personality is. If we are so happy-go-lucky and we fall into the category of pleasing, taking on other people's thoughts and feelings and opinions and behaviours, we're just so disconnected from ourselves. And quite often people who struggle with having their own belief systems and opinions also struggle with knowing how to navigate conflict and boundaries that will come from this. But that's for a later video, and there's other videos on my page talking about that. But the video today is about introspection. How do you recognise you have this wound? Well, recognising that you do people please, recognising that you're constantly analysing and taking on the thoughts of others, the beliefs of others, the behaviours of others, validating them, excusing them. And that actually, to learn to be authentic for you, it's important to create a strong sense of self. Well, actually, I don't agree with you. I like you, but I don't agree with you. And this is going to lead at times to people who won't get you, won't agree with you, and won't like you. And one thing that I have to say from that is, trying to please those people was always going to be at the extent of yourself anyway. So by not doing this because you want to please those people and keep them around, you've never really got them around because they're not really bonded to you. They're only around you as long as you echo chamber their own behaviour and as long as you make them comfortable. One thing that I say to my clients when I'm working in spiritual therapy, and one thing that I teach on TikTok and Facebook, is you are got to learn to be disliked when you learn to heal the wound of introjection, because to have thoughts, feelings and opinions, they're not always going to marry up with somebody else. And it's about teaching those around us that you can have differences of opinions, different thoughts and belief systems. And that doesn't mean you dislike them as a person. That actually, for the world to go round, for the world to have the layers of different personality it has, we have to start having some more genuine behaviours come up. We are a world now, or a society in the Western world, of conformity, of seeking the path of least resistance. So people just believe they want to heal to become better versions of themselves. And these better versions of themselves mean they don't question anybody else, they don't get into arguments, they don't have conflict, they just try and be as nice as they can. And that's just actually masking. What you're doing is you're swapping an old mask of not conforming to a new mask of I want to be so healed that I fit in. I fit in so much that I'm just losing who I am again in a different way. Because when you conform and you don't end up in situations where you get triggered, or situations where you get challenged, or situations where you don't agree, how does growth occur? Because the people that I work with who are depressed, sad, anxious, traumatised are all people who are completely disconnected from self. They have been taught, for one, along the way, who they should be. Their traumas have impacted them so much that they've either disconnected from parts of their self, or to feel they need to overcome their traumas or adverse experiences, they need to create a different identity. They struggle navigating relationships. And the wound of introspection can show up in a couple ways, really. Because if you have somebody with introspection wounds, but also somebody that has never been validated, heard or understood, those people with that wound are going to turn volatile. They're going to be the people that blow up, that get easily triggered. The people that the minute you challenge them, they take it personally. And the other people with the wound who wants to be seen as a good person, they're going to swallow that wound. They're not going to say anything. They're going to people please. They're going to struggle with depression because they're going to sit in their home and feel disconnected. They're going to struggle with bonding with people. So the wound shows up in different... Every wound every human has shows up in two different ways. Either imploding or exploding. And that's with every wound. You either swallow the wound and you implode and you affect yourself, or you blow out the wound and it impacts others around you. Most people celebrate and normalise the imploding part of the wound. Well, at least I'm only hurting myself. At least, but the thing is, by hurting yourself, you're still hurting others anyway. Because by pulling inward, you're disconnecting from people. By isolating yourself, you're stopping other people from being able to bond with you and love you and be with you. And it's not about other people, but other people deserve your love as much as you deserve theirs. Some things that you've got to ask yourself when you're healing an introspection wound is, what are my values? And values are things that we all hold personally to us. Our values, one person's values could be education, the other person's values could be not so much education, but self-awareness. I want to teach my children self-awareness. I want to teach my children bonding. Education isn't the biggest thing. But it's about creating values. What are your values? Is your value to show up to the world and bond with them? Is your value to create more self-care for yourself? What is your values? Because when you've created values for yourself, you're able to first start understanding who you are. Then it's creating belief systems. What do you believe to be true? And this is the thing that sometimes we have to challenge. Because belief systems get passed down. Belief systems aren't rigid in the sense where a belief system is something you have to come up with from your values. And quite often people are living values of other people and belief systems of other people. So if your value is, I value education, then your belief system is, actually, I'm going to buy books for my child to help them with the value of education. If your belief system is, if your value is, well, I believe in self-awareness and I believe in my children bonding, then your belief system's going to be, okay, I believe that for my children to do that, they're going to have to spend time with other people. I'm going to have to talk to them and have open and honest conversations with them. So do you understand how values and belief systems go hand in hand? They're not the same thing, but if you don't have one, you won't have the other. You will just, majority of people, just have belief systems that have been passed down from their parents and their environment growing up. And when I work with any of my clients to help them understand themselves, I first question, what strong belief systems do you have and where do they come from? The belief system could be, I'm not good enough. The belief system could be, I am only worthy when I please others. The belief system could be, I avoid conflict because conflict doesn't solve anything. Now, a value could be, I value family. And if I value family, my belief system is I have to accept everything from that family. The value could be that blood is thicker than water. And if blood is thicker than water, then you should never challenge the fact that the very people who your family are is impacting you. I hope that this video highlights a couple of things for you. One, it's time for you to look at your values and beliefs. Because introjection means the version of you that is showing up to this world has been created. In childhood, we are raised to the best of our parents' ability, or caregivers or schools, but we're never taught really autonomy. We're never taught sense of self. We're only learning that as time goes on, that sense of self is important. That from the ages between 5 and 7, that's when a child is seeking autonomy, seeking to choose their own foods. I don't want to wear that, mummy. I don't want to do this, mummy. I want to do that. And it's about teaching the child that there's some things that you have to make them do and encourage them to do. And there's some things they do get a choice on. But quite often, back in the days gone by, you wasn't given choices. Your autonomy wasn't able to be created. You wasn't allowed to make choices and decisions. You was told what it is you had to do. And that is the introjection wound. The fact that you've never been able to develop the autonomy within you. You've never been able to develop a sense of self, that you are able to understand who you are. And that's why I truly believe in adulthood. We have a second birth. I call it the awakening. Some people do, some people don't. But we have to have an awakening in adulthood, because what did serve you in childhood, what you did need in childhood to keep you safe, to be a part of a family, is not the same behaviours and actions that serve you in adulthood. And your childhood brain wouldn't be able to prepare for adulthood because it was a childhood brain. And there is no family unit that can give everything a child needs all of the time so that child has a perfect adulthood. Because the meaning of our life and our journey is one to explore self, to learn who we are, to learn what's affected us, to learn what we need to let go of, what we need to heal, to learn, because life is a journey. And the only meaning, well, not the only, but one of the main meanings of life is to learn reconnection to self. I truly believe this, and this is what I teach. And it's only when you truly reconnect to yourself, you can truly connect to others, and you can truly find and create the meaning in your life, because life has to have meaning. If you want to follow me on TikTok, go over to The Spiritual Hub. I'm the same on Facebook, The Spiritual Hub. I do have a website which will be put up, www.thespiritualhub.uk, and you can see what I offer on there. I offer courses, short courses and 6-week programs to be able to help people truly understand their experiences and how they've shaped them, and how to actually start healing from those experiences. And what is healing? Healing is being able to be self-aware to how experiences have impacted you, so that you can create the life you deserve to live. Take care.